Hey folks, Tim with Law Racing here, back with another video today. I went and ran a figure eight in Farwell, Michigan yesterday and had some unfortunate luck that ended up breaking the rear axle off our car. So unfortunate to end my night a little bit. Okay, so plan to get started here. Gonna go ahead and pull all the brake drum hardware off, so mainly just pulling all these springs off that retain everything, and since that backing plate's got to get replaced anyway, as you can see, it's pretty tweaked. I did have one of these break previously, but I was able to straighten out the backing plate. This one I don't think I'm going to be so lucky, so I'll have to replace that, and then clean things up, get all that mud out of there, and from there it'll be pretty easy. We're just going to take these 4 bolts off that hold the retainer plate on that's supposed to hold that axle on. As you see with our spare here, I'll have to clean this up yet, but this is that retainer plate that's still on there. We'll have to go ahead and take that off, pull the seal out, the bearing that's still in there, and this thing's just kind of floating free in there. This is the actual retainer on the axle shaft. You can see this one was tack welded on. Typically they're just pressed onto these bolt-in style axles, and that's actually where the axle broke, was right in there. And here's the assembly that came off the car, that came off the track, and you can kind of see just looking straight down at this thing. See if I can get it to focus. Yeah, you can see how that's coming out a totally different direction now rather than straight like it should. So gives you an idea what way that wheel was facing when that busted off. But it'll be pretty easy to get that back, get my drum back. I'll just take the impact to the lugs here and all that should drop right off. So I got that all done, got all the brake hardware off. I think most of that will be salvageable here. And next we'll have to take the wheel cylinder off, the brake system. So I'll have to go back in here, pull the line off in there. See if we can highlight that a little bit more. So the line, the 2 bolts, and then we'll proceed with taking these 4 bolts off, and we'll be able to take the backing plate off, and then our busted axle and all the other goodies inside there. Right, backing plate is off. So here's the part that takes a little bit of creativity. So we got the broken piece of axle in there. As you can see, it's not far from the end of the housing, but we're gonna have to figure out a way to get it between the race here. I could pull the race out if I need to, but since I think I will use that, it doesn't look like it's damaged. I'll try to leave that in. So I'm thinking I got some pry bars, might try using those like chopsticks. I also have a pair of channel locks. Maybe needle nose pliers might work too, since they'd be skinny to get the jaws in there. And I did notice getting the backing plate off. That's a little bit dinged on the mounting part there, so I'll have to try pounding this guy back here, get it straight again. But other than that, I think we might be good. It looks like the housing itself is still straight going in toward the middle there. So should be all right to get that fixed up. There we go. And we do have the old bent axle shaft out of there. And as you can see, that's not straight anymore. So it wasn't easy to get out of. Kind of wedged down in there, but put it in neutral and spun the tire on the other side. And luckily that got it free where it had an angle that it could get out of there. So next, you can see all the way down in there. Hopefully that still looks straight. I do have a backup rear end. If it ends up not being straight, I'd probably trade out the gear and spool that's in the center section to the new one. But got a new backing plate here that's fresh and straight. And other than that, do have my backup axle at the ready. Clean that up, put all the gear lube into the bearing down there and on the splines here where it's going to go into the spool in the middle, and we'll get that reinstalled. And there we go. So ended up reinstalling the 4 bolts on there. This one I tried not to go too tight on, since that's the one that still has the bent ear on the flange there. So the rest of them I all tightened up first to make sure it seals properly. I have done that where it leaks because you didn't get the seal on there quite good enough, but I could feel that that seated. Everything turns nice and free, no binding, so that kind of reassures me that the housing's not bent in this thing, and still has the correct amount of play that it should. Well, it did. There you go. Yeah, it should have just a little bit of wiggle room there at the end, but that has her back together, and other than that, just putting the wheel cylinder back on, the brake hardware, and then you're all set. Thanks for watching.